So this is Fabric's lobby, and this lobby looked very different when we moved into this building. We've done a lot to improve it. You can actually see that we've got a lot of great awards and recognitions from lots of different government officials and different entities right here. Very proud of a lot of these awards that we've been able to get in the short 3 years that we've actually been here. All the great recognitions as well. So now we're going to head into our main room. This is the main manufacturing and event space. So during the week, this space is filled with all of our workers that are making all of the garments that we make here. And then on the weekends, this space turns into an event space. So this is our runway, and usually we have runway shows here. We also have other events like corporate events and weddings and educational events and seminars and workshops and proms and you name it. And what's cool about this space is that it comes with the lighting and the sound and the projection equipment that you see up there that was donated by Video West. We're so grateful for them. This allows us to be a turnkey operation. So when you rent this space, you don't have to also bring in all of that equipment. We also provide tables and chairs and linens. So it really is a turnkey space, and the price is much more affordable than it is for the average event space, and that's because we have a nonprofit here that is responsible for giving back free and discounted programs and services to the community to earn our stay in this beautiful building. And so we're able to discount everything, so it's a win-win for you in using this space, and the money that is generated from renting this space actually allows us to do the thing that we're really here to do, which is to make clothing. When we do turn this into an event space, everything gets cleaned up. All the work that's here that you see on the table, all of these items here get put away. Everything is pretty minimal in this space except for the sewing machines stay. The sewing machines that you see over here and this big cutting table are the only things left in the room when we offer this as an event space. And the cutting table gets a big black linen on top of it, so it can become a banquet table. It can become anything, really. It can be an auction item table. It's a really useful space for most events. And the sewing machines stay, and it makes it kind of a cool environment, like a very industrial space. And then let's talk a little bit about what the manufacturing looks like here. So the sewing machines that you see here can do practically everything. What makes this space unique is that, or what makes this incubator unique, is that we can actually manufacture no minimums, and we can make almost every product you can imagine. So we have made everything from undergarments and medical devices to wedding dresses to button-down shirts to leggings, athletic wear, t-shirts, you can name it, and it's probably been made here, which is really unique for a manufacturer. Usually manufacturers specialize in one thing, and the reason they do that is because that allows them to get the specific machines that are required for that one thing, and it allows them to get really good at that one thing so that they can do it really affordably. So they usually have very high minimums in order to work with them. And when you have really high minimums, that means a small designer, a new emerging brand, really usually doesn't need to meet those minimums right away. And so it makes it really difficult to find manufacturing when you first start out and when you just want to test the market and see if your product's even possible. So what we do is we offer no minimum manufacturing, and we make almost every product you can imagine here, which is really unique. But obviously that doesn't happen most of the time for a very good reason. It's because it usually doesn't make the factory any money. No minimum manufacturing of all different types of products is not a super lucrative, profitable thing, so nobody does it. So the reason we do it is because we work with emerging apparel entrepreneurs, and we know that they need that. That's the main thing that they need. And so we go ahead and take one for the team and offer that as a service so that designers can get started, and we offset the loss of that manufacturing in this event space rental. So the events are really important for us to be able to keep doing what we're doing. This big cutting table allows us to manufacture or to cut multiple pieces at once. This is our spreader, and the spreader allows us to put a roll of fabric up on the top here, and then it has wheels and it rolls back and forth. And so when this rolls back and forth, we can get layers and layers and layers and stacks of fabric right here on the table. And then we put our marker on top, which is all of the pattern pieces strategically laid out so that we can cut them efficiently. So we have paper patterns that are laid out in a big piece of paper called a marker. They're placed on top, and then we cut around all of those pieces using these knives right here. So these are really tall blades that can cut through very big stacks of fabric all at one time. So that's how we're able to cut thousands of pieces at once. The cool thing about this, even though it's also a no minimum factory, it's also a zero waste factory as well. So when we're done cutting, instead of throwing the scraps into the landfill, they get placed in this big bin, and then local designers can come and take the scraps and use them for lots of different purposes. We actually have a group that call themselves Refabricate, and they take the scraps and make them into these garments that you see here. And you can actually see the Refabricate logo on this pair that was made by Nicole Willis, who's one of the Refabricate members, this pair of leggings. And all these items are made out of the leftover scraps that are in that bin. So that makes us a zero waste factory as well, which is really unique, really cool, really sustainable. And it also gets a little bit more income into the pocket of the designer who made this, because when the designer makes these pieces, then we sell them here, and the designer gets half of the money and the nonprofit gets half of the money. So it's a win-win again for everybody. All right, so this is our big space where you can hire the expert to manufacture for you. Now check out the next part of the video on where you can actually sew yourself. If you want to use the machinery here, we have another space that we're about to go into that is sort of our maker space.